Hey everyone, welcome to another top 10 list. This week's top 10 is the conclusion of my top 20 list. Top 20 real versus replica notes. Last week I did numbers 20 through 11. You can check back last week and see which ones those were. I'm not going to go through them all one more time. But this week we're into the top 10. Top 10 real versus replicas. I did do a list like this in the past. I've just picked up so many notes since I've done that. It was definitely time to revisit this particular list. So, with that, here we go. Number 10. Number 10, this may look familiar to a lot of you. This is a $1 1896 silver certificate, part of the educational series. The $1 note was the first note in that series. A really cool note, and I can't really zoom in on this because this one is the replica. Take a peek at the back like that. You can recognize George Washington and Martha Washington. But when I put it side by side with the real one, now you can see a lot more detail. Now, as clean as this note is, it's funny because if I try to zoom in, you can't exactly read the text. You can kind of make out that it says Constitution there. But with this one, the real one, you can see Constitution of the United States. We, the people, and if you can magnify it just enough, you can read that entire statement on there. So that is pretty cool. So the $1 educational note from 1896 is number 10 on my list. And of course, there's the back like there, of course, featuring George and Martha. Number 10 on my list, $1 real versus replica. So much easier to show this one, but this one has so much more detail. That's number 10 on my list. Number 9. Now this one, this is my $500 Federal Reserve replica. Now the serial number on this one drives a lot of people nuts because, yeah, it's a solid. If you had a $1 bill that had this for a serial number, that would be worth $1,500 or so without a problem. So to see a $500 note is just like a major tease. Of course, this one is just a replica. Nothing special about this one. However, this one, yes, this is the real one. It does have the lime green seal. It's even noted on there, light green seal. 1934 Federal Reserve note from New York, $500 note. Pretty decent shape on this one as well. It does grade out at a 30. Little dingy, little dirty, but otherwise pretty nice overall. 1934 $500 note. That is number 9 on my list. Number 8. Most people don't even realize this is real money. Some people think this is fake. Well, this particular one is fake. This is my replica. It's the $10 Bison note from 1901. $10 Bison replica. You can see huge white spaces on the back. That's what attracts a lot of collectors, as well as having Lewis and Clark surrounding a North American bison. And yeah, that's what it looks like for real. There's the real one. Now the red is much deeper on the actual note. You can see that right there. I actually really like that shade of red. That's a very deep, almost blood red, you'd say, for these here. And if you look at the backs of the notes, that's the replica, that's the real. This is just in the case. I still got to change out this case. You can see the huge white fields like that. Mine show all the creases, show all the dirt, but also hidden in there are all the red and blue fibers as well. That's the purpose of these huge areas of white, to make sure that you can see the fibers so that you know that that was legitimate. So yeah, 1901 $10 Lewis and Clark Bison note, legal tender note. That is number 8 on my list. Number 7. One of the other educational notes, this one's the $2 educational note. This just looks like a picture. It doesn't look like it was money. Just an incredible looking note like that. Very cool note. Take a peek at the back. That is Fulton and Samuel Morse on the back. And here is the real one. My real one's in pretty good shape as well, so everything is very easy to see on here. It's decent enough shape, and just hard to believe people would fold this up and put it in their pocket. Granted, these were only in circulation for 3 years. That's what makes them so valuable. That is the $2 note and the replica. It's just neat seeing them side by side. And once again, I mean, you're talking 4 digits as far as price range and some of this stuff, so That's why I'd much rather just show you the replicas when I'm doing top 10 lists rather than the real deal, because, well, these get pretty expensive pretty quick. All right, so that's 10, 9, 8, 7, that's 7. Number 6 on the list. Number 6 on the list is the note that got it all started for me. This is the 1922 $20 gold certificate. Now, seeing George on there, an in gold coin on there, being this big, a $20 bill with George, none of this made sense to me. And then they flipped it over and blinded me, and I was sold. So I had to pick up this note. Like I said, this is the first large size note I ever got. Everything about this note, like I said, $20 denomination with George Washington. The familiar scrolling that you would see on small head notes, the scrolling up on top, the actual gold seal, the gold ink used here, and then the gold bright back on there as well. Just so much to stun the imagination if you never saw one of these before. I saw this and immediately had to get it and started collecting currency right after that. So that is number 6. What do I have here now? 10, 9, 8, 7. Yep, that was number 6. Number 6 on that list. Number 5. Number 5, this is a Lazy Deuce. This is a $2 national banknote. This particular one's from 1875. 1875 $2 Lazy Deuce. This particular one says La Crosse National Bank. That's from Wisconsin, and that's what the back is there. And here is my actual Lazy Deuce. This particular one is from American National Bank, Providence, Rhode Island. You can see the Lazy Deuce laying on its side with United States engraved in there like that. Just such a cool looking note for one of our first attempts. Here's the back. Now it's interesting because the back on this shows that it's got the green and the black right here, whereas when you look at the replica, the green kind of got washed out. It looks all black. So that's just kind of interesting that the color scheme on the replica didn't quite get it exactly. Now, as far as these go, this one here features Rhode Island. So you've got Rhode Island's flag there with the U.S. and the eagle. The replica, being from Wisconsin, is going to have the Wisconsin logo and the eagle on it there. So that was just kind of neat seeing those different things like that. Yeah. My Lazy Deuce. I don't get to see this too often, so I just gotta enjoy holding it and showing it up for you guys, because this also is one of my really expensive notes, so it doesn't come home too often. So when it is here, I like to take a peek and just enjoy the note. All right, number 4. Number 4 on my list. I've shown this one a number of times. This is the replica of my $1,000 note, $1,000 bill. These are hot. These are very hot right now. You can't find them for cheap anymore. Here's the real one, my $1,000 bill. Now this particular note, when I got it, I think the price is still on this one. Yep, $16.75. You'd be lucky to find a $500 bill for that price right now. So yeah, I got lucky buying this when I did. These are going for about $2,500 now. So yeah, it was a good purchase on my part. You can see series of 1934A. There's a little bit of daylight coming through, so you can see through the note and read what's on the back there. United States of America, $1,000. Yeah, $2,500 note. I would be more than happy just to keep the replica here to show you guys that and not have to worry about anything happening to this one. So that is number 4. Number 3. I have shown this replica many, many, many times. This is the poker chip. 1923 poker chip replica. Why is it the poker chip? It's the poker chip for those big old circles on the back. Those are the poker chips. And the reason why you guys have seen this one so many times is because I didn't have one. But if you follow my channel, you know I picked one up recently. So I've got a poker chip. And yeah, seeing the front on this next to the, just seeing these side by side is just so cool for me, because like I said, I've told so many stories about the poker chip, and now I've got the real one right by it. The number on mine's kind of interesting. It's a mixed ladder. You've got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0, and you've even got A and B, so you've got all that covered there. And if I'm going to talk about the poker chip, well, you know I got to show the poker chips. There they are on the back, the real ones versus the replica. And this one, even though it's graded a 20, it's got no comments on the back, so that means this one is pretty good for a 20. So I'm pretty happy with that. And yeah, the current book on this one is about $3,500. You'll see that in the video that I did on it, though. So yeah, pretty proud of my poker chip. That's number 3 on my list. Number 2, another one of the most popular notes out there, 1899 $5 Chief Note. $5 Chief Note replaced the educational series, so when you figure they had to throw this together relatively quickly, it's an amazing note. It always stands out to me, the 3D effect that they have on the lettering here. It doesn't show it as well on the replica. I do like the bright blue. I do like the image of the chief. And the back, you've got all the open spaces like that. And comparing it side by side with the real thing. Here's the real one. Yes, mine's got a stain there, but if I hold it like this, it's a beautiful note. Let's look at that 3D effect like I was telling you, where you've got the shadowing behind there. It just makes the United States portion just seem to jump off against that that background there. It's just really cool. One of the cool things also is you can zoom in pretty close and see the detail on all this, whereas on the replicas, these of course wash out really quick. Take a look at the back. Yeah, too bad about that stain, but the rest of this note is pretty good. Pretty nice note. $18.99 $5 silver certificate featuring Chief Running Antelope. And number 1 on my list. Number 1, gotta go with the original. The $5 educational note. This is the Troublemaker note. This is the note that caused the entire educational series to get pulled. And when you start checking out the pictures in this, you can see that on the replica, the closer you zoom in, the more everything kind of just blurs. Because, well, it is a replica. Well, the back on this is pretty neat. But when you look at it compared to the real one, my real one isn't in the greatest of shape, but like I said, you can still zoom in and those pictures hold their own. You can see all the detail there. And that's also a little bit of credit to the quality of this particular note too. This note is in pretty good shape. Once you get notes that are 8 or a 10, the paper tends to be pretty well crinkled up and you don't get to see the detail in these notes. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Taking a peek on the backs once again, side by side. Real versus replica. I don't have to tell you which is which. This one's got the crease like that. That one doesn't. So yeah, real versus replica, that is the top 10. Yeah, you can just start looking at these and, you know, talking like 2,000 here, you're talking 3,500 there, 2,500 here, 1,500 here. What do we got here? That's 1,500 or so. That's 1,300. That's 1,500. Yeah, there's some money here. So you can see why when I do my top 10 lists, I mostly use the replicas because, like I said, this is a lot of cash to have out on a table. I can run this back to the bank as soon as I finish filming, and this will all be safe and sound. All right, guys, thanks for watching. If you learned anything new, go ahead and hit that like button. If you like what you see and you want to see more, please subscribe. I love reading all your comments. If you have an idea for a top 10 list, go ahead and leave that down below, and I will put your name in the video if I can use that idea. Guys, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you again next week.